Hi, I'm Graham.
And I'm Steph.
We are Crystal Street Comics, and welcome back to the Comic Catwalk.
Oh, yeah.
If E ever did a geek show, this would be that show.
Yep. Something like that. Less trash talk, though.
Just telling you, E, we'll sell out.
Yeah.
Seriously.
I want that money.
Seriously, E, come calling. Look us up. I'm sure after 2 episodes, we're bound to get paid.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
I mean, we're an old staple of this internet at this point.
Now, before we get started, news on the social media front. I finally convinced the guys that Instagram was not just for hipsters and pictures of food. So you can find us on Instagram at Crystal Street Comics.
Doing all kinds of social media branching because of the PR woman here. So I appreciate you setting us up on the Instagram.
No big deal.
Check us out if you have the Instagram. Definitely hit that up. So not going to explain. We told you what we do last time, so we're going to dive right into it this time and not waste your precious time, Internet. This week, we have decided, you tell them who we decided to go with this
time.
Robin. That is DC's sidekick #1.
Yep.
Robin. Batman and Robin.
Yeah. Now, just to be clear, we are not talking about who the Robins became. We are not talking about anything involving any extra lore, anything like that. As much as I would want to, we're just talking about the looks.
And we like she said, we're not going to talk about who they later became. We are going to talk about just them when they were Robin, but we are going to try and address all the Robins to the best of our ability here. And as always, if I forget a Robin, leave a comment below, and we can try and catch that up on the next episode. So let's dive right into it. Starting with the very first Robin, that was Dick Grayson.
Yep.
And the costume was the Robin costume.
Oh boy.
The kid's sidekick thing really kind of took off with Robin. I mean, he was one of the first ones, and you did have, of course, Bucky in response to that. But they all the superheroes started to get these kid sidekicks. But the weird thing was the costumes were so much less effective than their mentors' costumes. They were definitely. It did not help the whole Batman and Robin are gay thing when you had
Robin in a leotard.
Yeah.
With elf shoes.
Running
and
around
no pants.
Running around with a 20 to 30-year-old man.
With no pants. I just want to emphasize there were no pants.
Oh, yeah. It was just it's a weird look, and the shoes had the elf
the elf
flare.
Curl, yeah.
They weren't curled at the toe, but they had the flare at the top.
Yeah.
And that was weird. It's just such a weird.
It was like he put him in slippers and underwear and said, "Congratulations, you're a sidekick."
You're a sidekick. Good job. Go out there and fight some crime. Now what's funny is now both Dick Grayson and Jason Todd wore basically this outfit that we are used to thinking of as the classic Robin outfit. And what's really funny is that the whole reason you think of Batman as a character that works in the night, but Robin's obviously wearing these bright yellows and greens, and it makes him a target.
Yeah, exactly.
And this was never addressed until the New 52.
Yeah, how did it go that long without being addressed?
I don't know, but there's this great page of Tim Drake while he's training as Robin talking to Batman, and Batman mentions that the reason you wear the bright colors is so if you get seen, you have to go beat them. You then can earn the night. And that's just so harsh.
That's when you realize that Batman's really just trying to kill the people that he's training.
Yeah.
That's where the Ra's al Ghul training comes in.
And he just makes great apprentices.
Yes, he does. All of them.
So mentioning Tim Drake was the third Robin. And Tim was the first one, thank the Lord above, to get some pants. And the costume it actually becomes much more visually appealing, in my opinion, once Tim Drake takes it over.
Well, I think people got tired of drawing these really awkward, who were obviously teenage young men. These were not, 5, 6, even 10-year-olds. These were teenagers, and they were in these really ridiculous outfits that.
So you see Tim in the pants, and generally you see it in two different variations. You'll have it with the green legs, with the top looks traditional, but it's full green legs as opposed to being the open leg.
Looks more like an acrobat's uniform.
Yeah. And then later he gets a suit that's basically red, black, and yellow. There's no green in it. And I can't remember if this came after the animated series where that look did originally show up, or if it's vice versa, if it was in the comics and that's the one they ended up using in the animated series.
I don't remember I can't put them,
But again, it did abandon the green at that point, which was, I mean, such a staple with Robin was the green, but they did go just to red, black, but there was still yellow. The back of the cape is still a bright yellow. And then, so after Tim, we got the first female Robin. Well, we'll jump back and say it's not the first time a female was Robin. It's the first time a female was Robin in official story canon. And that was Stephanie Brown.
Yep.
Now, Stephanie's outfit was still a very traditional Robin outfit.
Yeah, it was. It was a dress.
It was a dress, though. Yeah, it was like a dress on tights, which, I mean, is a very popular look nowadays, surprisingly. But other than that, I mean, I am kind of happy to see they didn't overly sexualize a female Robin.
Absolutely. They could have gone completely the other direction with that, and they chose to take the high ground on that. And I do think of it as the high ground because with a character in a canon that's as dark as Batman, you really don't need somebody's boobs hanging out.
Yeah. And so it was kind of, because even they could have gone back to like a classic Robin and taken the leggings off of her. And they didn't do that. They kept full leggings on her and combat, if I am not mistaken, combat boots.
Yep.
She did not wear heels. She actually wore a flat boot, which is really cool to see.
Yeah, it's utilitarian too. It's,
So the other, well, we'll save her for last. So then now we jump to, that was the old DC logic. In recent years, they kind of rebooted the whole thing into what was called the New 52, and it reworked the entire story. So Stephanie Brown in New 52 has never been Robin, but Tim, Jason, and Dick were all Robins. Now the main difference is the costumes all had the pants
at that point.
Right. They all of the Robins did end up getting a pants look, which is
thank God.
Thank God. But like the difference that you'll notice when you're looking at the New 52 version is whenever they draw Jason Todd, say, as Robin,
he has the red mask.
He's got a red mask. Just it's obviously who he becomes later is the red hood.
I mean, but all the Robins have had, all the male Robins have had the black hair. They've had the very similar builds.
And they were hard to tell apart. I mean, when we were researching for this episode, when looking at older images, it's hard to tell if it's Dick or if it's Jason. Because they were drawn very similar. It's just Jason, you can find some that are very obviously more aggressive.
Yeah.
And it kind of lets you know that it's Jason, but when it's just him kind of standing and smiling, they're hard to tell apart. So that red mask, I think, is a nice visual distinction.
Yeah, thank you, DC, for that.
And then there is actually, before New 52, this Robin did come on the scene, but he is now the current Robin, and that's Damien.
Yep.
Now Damien is Batman's illegitimate son with Talia. And
anything of the Al Ghul bloodline is going to be interesting.
And he's a bastard.
Yeah.
He's got an interesting look to the comic. It's still it's red and black. I think there's a little bit of green in it.
A little bit, but not.
Mainly in the mask. He's got the mask part of his is green. He has a hoodie.
Oh, it's got a cowl neck, but it's a hood that comes up over his head.
And then, but his cape shows a lot more yellow.
Yeah.
Than the other capes did. So it's an interesting look. And recently now, I guess the kid's bulletproof. I didn't even know.
Yeah, he's actually got some superpowers too.
Yeah, so it's just he's such a terrible, I don't like him. And I think that's a credit to the writers. It's a lot like Joffrey from Game of Thrones. You don't like him because
you do have to remember that Raz is his grandfather.
Right. But he's just written like such a bastard that you just can't root for the kid, and I think that's how he's supposed to be written. It's a character you're supposed to hate. So
he was put there to keep Batman on his toes, that's for sure.
And he gives Tim Drake shit. Tim Drake's my boy. So love you, Drake. So that brings us to one of the last Robins, but the one that I've kind of been putting off throughout most of the episode, and that's Carrie Kelly. Now, Carrie exists in the Dark Knight universe, which was
Frank Miller's offshoot.
When, as famously said, Frank Miller gave Batman his balls back.
Oh yeah.
But in that story, Robin was a girl named Carrie Kelly. She decides to help Batman out, and she basically just puts on the Robin suit. The main difference is that she wears like glasses.
Yeah,
like
they're yellow, the orangish glasses.
Yeah, and
instead of a mask.
it's supposed to be, the 80s version of what people in the future dress like. They wear these big glasses, apparently. And
Well, he wasn't far off. I mean, how many people wear big rim glasses now?
That's true. And she had a slingshot, which was kind of unique to her. So that was an interesting look.
I liked her a lot, actually.
Yeah, it was. That's a good series. I appreciate the writing in it, but it is Frank Miller stuff. Sometimes is so hard for me to read, and especially his art sucks.
Yeah.
And so it's
okay. Yeah, I see it.
And that's why actually Jim Lee did a run with him called Batman and Robin All Stars, where you got Jim Lee's art and Frank Miller's words, and that was great. And we did get, of course, a Jim Lee Robin, classic Robin, which looks really cool. I mean, it's still the old, oh my God, why is Robin wearing that outfit? But drawn by Jim Lee, almost anything looks good.
Yeah, I'll give him that, yeah.
One last one, kind of an offshoot one we're going to mention, it's not main universe or anything like that, is the Incoming Robin, which is a female Robin. And it's very, very manga. It's the only.
She's so pretty.
Yeah, she's so pretty and cute, and it's the only one that's sleeveless. It is completely.
And she looks like she's wearing fingerless gloves underneath her gloves. She's got the thigh-high boots.
Yeah, it's a cool look. It's a very anime look. If you haven't seen it before, it should be right about here right now. So, I hope you're enjoying that. And I guess actually I shouldn't say last but not least, because we do have to do two more before we can officially leave this episode. First off is our good old friend Burt Ward.
Yeah.
Burt, we're talking now live action interpretations of Robin, and we can't do that without talking about Burt.
Oh God.
Holy something's Batman. That was, give it to Burt. The man wore the costume. I mean,
he wore it and he lived that.
Yeah.
He lived it.
I mean, we can always make fun of the old Adam West Batman costume because he had the eyebrows etched on it. It was kind of a weird looking Batman, but that was
not bat nipples.
Yeah. But it was Robin. I mean, that outfit was Robin. I mean, it's hard to deny that. That's what it looked like in the comic books. So, kudos to the old series. That Robin looked like that. And now we have to talk bat nipples. Chris O'Donnell played Robin in 2 films.
It's very sad to me because I think that Chris O'Donnell, if given the right script, may have actually been a decent Robin. I don't like the nipples though.
Really, I thought he was a great part of those movies, I should say. I thought that he was one of the more enjoyable parts, quite frankly. And his first costume was good. Yeah. It looks like the Tim Drake with pants Robin outfit. I had no qualms with it. It was a Robin outfit. It's Batman and Robin when they just decided, you know what?
We'll give him the Nightwing suit.
Well, the Nightwing suit is okay. Even that I can go, okay, that's the Nightwing suit. It's not Robin, but I'll deal with that. But it was the nipples.
Yeah.
Why did they put nipples on the outfit? This was a thing that we let happen. And I want everybody who bitches about comic book movies to remember
that we let nipples go on the bat suit.
That was a thing. So be grateful for what we get now. Spider-Man having shiny eyes is not the end of the world.
We had bat nipples.
We had bat nipples.
Yep.
On that note, that's the end of the Catwalk. So I'm Graham.
And I'm Steph.
And we'll see you next time.
All right.